There is a specific kind of power that operates in silence, a frequency that most people cannot detect until it's standing right in front of them, and by then, it's already too late. You've witnessed this person before. In a meeting where tensions flare, they remain the cool center of the storm. In an argument where voices rise, their voice drops even lower. When someone tries to corner them with a painful truth, they don't defend or deflect, they just look back with an expression that gives absolutely nothing away. It's not that they don't feel the pressure, it's that they've learned something crucial about how pressure actually works. Centuries ago, Machiavelli dissected the anatomy of power with a surgeon's precision. He observed that the courts of princes were not just political arenas, they were psychological battlefields, and the ones who survived, who thrived, were rarely the strongest or the smartest. They were the ones who understood that your inner state is a fortress. Every time you react emotionally, you lower the drawbridge. You invite the observer inside to wander your halls, to map your weaknesses, to note exactly which corridors lead to your core. The question is not whether you feel things everyone does. The question is who gets to see the blueprint. Most people believe that calm is a byproduct of safety. They think, I calm once the threat passes. But that gets it exactly backwards. Calm is the thing that neutralizes the threat. It is not a reaction to your environment. It is an alteration of it. In the next few minutes, we are going to walk through 7 distinct social pressure point situations designed to make you flinch. We will look at why they work on 99% of people, and more importantly, how you can train yourself to be the 1% who remains unreadable, unmovable, and ultimately, in control. Before we begin, if you are ready to understand the hidden architecture of human behavior, type this in the comments. I am the observer, not the observed. Situation 1. The public punchline. You are in a group. Someone decides to make you the center of attention, but not in a way you asked for. They repeat something you said, twisting the inflection, adding a dramatic pause, and suddenly, the room is laughing at you. In that split second, your nervous system floods with heat. Your mind scrambles for a counter, a comeback, anything to restore your standing. This is the trap. Here's what is actually happening beneath the surface. The person who mocked you has just made a power play. They have attempted to frame you as the low-status figure in the room, the entertainer, the fool, the one who exists for the amusement of others. But a frame is not a fact. A frame is a proposal, and it only becomes reality if you accept it. When you react with anger or embarrassment, you accept the proposal. You say, without words, yes, you have the power to hurt me, and I am now dancing to your tune. But what if you didn't? What if you simply looked at them with a kind of mild, curious detachment? What if you let the laughter hang in the air, and then gave a slow, almost imperceptible nod, as if acknowledging a strange but ultimately insignificant noise? Silence, in that context, becomes a weapon. It redirects the spotlight. The room, which was just laughing at you, now begins to watch the person who tried so hard to get a rise. They become the one performing. They become the one whose need for validation is suddenly visible to everyone. You, by doing nothing, have done everything. You have demonstrated that your sense of self is not for sale at the price of a cheap laugh. Silence is not emptiness. It is a fortress. The mockery was an attempt to pull you down to their level. Your calm keeps you exactly where you are, and where you are is above it. Situation 2. The sudden ally. Someone who has, until now, been a source of friction, suddenly pivots. They start complimenting you in public. They laugh at your jokes a little too loudly. They position themselves as your champion. Your immediate instinct is relief. The war is over. You've gained a new friend. Stop. Do not let your guard down. Machiavelli wrote extensively about the nature of men. He observed that people do not change their natures. They change their strategies. When an enemy approaches you with a smile, it is rarely because they have seen the error of their ways. It is because the landscape has shifted. Perhaps your position has strengthened. Perhaps their previous alliances have crumbled. Perhaps they simply need access to information or influence that you now hold. The danger here is not the overture itself. The danger is the comfort it creates. You want to believe in the conversion. You want to close the book on that chapter of conflict. But this is precisely when you must become most alert. You can accept the truce. You can be polite, gracious, and warm on the surface. But inside, you must remain the observer. Watch what they do, not what they say. Do they still feed you information? Do they still try to get close to your private conversations? What happens the next time you face a setback? Do they disappear, or worse, do they reappear on the opposite side? The true test of an ally is not visible in calm waters. It is only visible in the storm. Confusing a tactical repositioning with genuine loyalty has destroyed more careers and relationships than any open adversary ever could. Keep your friends close, and your reconfigured enemies closer still. Trust is earned in stillness, tested in motion. Type this below if you understand. I watch the actions, not the words. Situation 3. The invisible treatment. Few things sting quite like being deliberately ignored. A direct insult at least acknowledges your existence. But to be spoken over, looked through, or systematically excluded from a conversation, you have every right to be part of. This taps into a primal fear of being cast out from the tribe. Your biology screams at you to re-engage, to speak louder, to insert yourself, to prove that you matter. That scream is exactly what they are waiting for. The person ignoring you is playing a simple game. They are trying to make you chase their attention, and the moment you do, you have conceded that their attention is a prize worth winning. You have placed them above you. You have made them the judge of your value. The Machiavellian countermove is absolute internal sovereignty. You must become someone who does not need the validation of the room, because you are already validated by the work you are doing, the path you are on, the person you are becoming. When you stop performing for an audience, you become magnetic. Your energy pulls inward. You seem complete. There is a profound power in scarcity. If your presence is not valued in a particular space, make it scarce. Withdraw your attention. Focus it elsewhere. When the person ignoring you realizes that their tactic has produced no reaction, no chasing, no hurt feelings, no performance, a shift occurs. Curiosity replaces contempt. They begin to wonder why you don't need them. And in that wondering, the balance of power tilts. You are no longer the one seeking acknowledgement. You have become the one worth seeking. Situation 4. The wild rumor. A story is moving through the channels you cannot see. It is false. It is damaging. And it is gaining weight with every retelling. Your name is attached to something you did not do, something you did not say. Every fiber of your being wants to run into the streets, to grab people by the lapels, to shout the truth until your voice gives out. This is the instinct that will bury you. Think of a rumor like a small fire. If you run at it with panic, swinging your arms, you do not put it out. You create a draft. You fan the flames. You spread the embers to dry grass you hadn't even noticed. The most powerful force you have against a lie is not a louder truth. It is your own composure. When people hear a rumor, most of them file it away as a maybe. It sits in the back of their minds, unconfirmed. But when the subject of the rumor explodes with the frantic, emotional denial that maybe transforms into a headline, you have just told everyone that the story has power. You have just validated it as worthy of a reaction. Machiavelli advised his prince to be armed. In a social context, your armor is your unshakable demeanor. If you must address a lie, do it once. Do it calmly. Do it with the precision of a surgeon, the flailing of a drowning man. Say what is true, without rage, without desperation, and then move on. Let your life, your consistent actions, and your refusal to be rattled be the counter-narrative. People are natural lie detectors, not of facts, but of anxiety. A guilty person, or a person with something to hide, almost always leaks anxiety. They over-explain. They get defensive. They need you to believe them. A person who is simply living their truth does not need you to believe anything. They are too busy living. Your calm becomes the most compelling evidence in your favor. Situation 5. The soft spot probe. There are people who navigate the world by finding pressure points. They steer conversations toward subjects that have historically been difficult for you: past failures, old rejections, sensitive topics. They do it casually, almost kindly, but their eyes are watching. They are looking for the flinch, the microtension in your jaw, the slight crack in your voice. That flinch is a gift. It tells them exactly where to apply leverage. You cannot stop people from probing, but you can make the probe useless. How? By making peace with your own history. If you carry your past failures as open wounds, you will bleed on anyone who touches them. But if you have processed those moments, if you have truly accepted that you are a human who has stumbled and risen, then those topics lose their charge. When someone brings up a failure, you can acknowledge it without weight. Yes, that happened. I learned a lot from it. No defensiveness, no shame, just fact. When a person looking for a wound finds only a scar, they leave empty-handed. They have learned nothing they can use. Your emotional history is no longer intelligence they can weaponize, because it is no longer a source of pain. It is simply data, and data, without emotional charge, is useless for manipulation. Heal in private, and you become invulnerable in public. Situation 6. The expected explanation. You walk into a space where something has gone wrong. Maybe you are being blamed. Maybe there is a misunderstanding, but the air is thick with expectation. They are waiting for you to explain yourself. They want to see you squirm, to justify, to plead your case. The pressure is immense, and the trap is that if you rush to fill that silence with the frantic defense, you have already lost. Why? Because by lunging into an explanation, you have accepted their premise. You have agreed that you are on trial. You have handed them the gavel. You have made them the jury and the judge, and you have cast yourself as the defendant. What if you did not rush? What if you let the silence breathe? What if you looked around the room, not with fear, but with a calm, unhurried curiosity, as if you were trying to understand the situation yourself? The person who controls the pace controls the entire interaction. Machiavelli said that men judge more by their eyes than their hands, because seeing is immediate, feeling takes time. What they see when you stand there, grounded and unafraid of the silence, is not guilt. They see a person who does not feel the weight of accusation. They see someone who is not scrambling. That visual impression is far more powerful than any string of words you could produce. When you are ready, you speak. You speak the truth, clearly and simply, but you do it on your terms, not on the timetable of the mob. Control the silence, or the silence will control you. Type this now. I speak when I am ready, not when I am pushed. Situation 7. The emotional read. Some people are expert readers of human emotion. They track your voice, your posture, your micro-expressions. They can sense excitement, fear, or anxiety before you are even aware of it yourself. In most interactions, this is just a form of social connection, but in moments of conflict or negotiation, it becomes a vulnerability. If they can read that you are nervous, they know when to push. If they can see that you are eager, they know when to hold back. Your emotions, broadcast openly, become a playbook for them to run. The goal is not to become a robot. The goal is to become the editor of your own expression. You still feel everything, the fear, the excitement, the anger, but you decide what makes it to the surface. You create a boundary between your inner weather and your outer presentation. This is not deception. It is strategic discretion. When people cannot read you, they become cautious. They have to guess. They have to wonder. And while they are wondering, you are moving. Unreadability is not coldness. It is a gift you give yourself. It is the space you create to think, to act, to choose, without the pressure of an audience that thinks it already knows your next move. Build this wall not around your heart, but around your face. Let them see your warmth, your humor, your humanity, but only when you choose to show it. Let the rest remain a mystery. A person who cannot be read cannot be reliably manipulated. And in a world full of people trying to pull your strings, that is the ultimate freedom. Everything we have discussed today points to one undeniable truth. Power is not something you demand from the world. It is something you generate within yourself. In the milliseconds between stimulus and response, it is the gap you create between what happens to you and how you react. Most people have no gap. They are a raw nerve, exposed and twitching. But you are learning to build a pause, a space, a fortress. We looked at the 7 moments where people crumble, when they are mocked, when they are courted by a false friend, when they are ignored, when they are lied about, when their wounds are probed, when they are expected to defend, and when their emotions are read. In every single case, the one who stays calm does not just survive, they transcend the situation. They change the game. They become the person the room watches, remembers, and ultimately respects. Machiavelli understood that the world is a stage, but not everyone is an actor. Most are just puppets, their strings pulled by circumstance and emotion. But you can cut those strings, not by ceasing to feel, but by ceasing to be ruled by feeling. That is the difference between the player and the played. That is the difference between the person who is shaped by events and the person who shapes them. If this message resonated with you, if it sparks something that feels important, hit the like button right now. It tells the algorithm that this content matters, and it helps us continue to bring these deep psychological breakdowns to more people. If you know someone who constantly reacts, who gets played by their emotions, who could use a blueprint for building their own inner fortress, send them this video. It might be the most important gift you give them this year. And if you haven't yet subscribed to Winds of Thought, do it now. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. We are building a library of content here designed to sharpen your mind, steady your nerves, and give you the tools to navigate a world that is constantly testing you. You do not want to miss what is coming. Machiavelli wrote, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him." But the deeper truth is this: the most important person you will ever have around you is yourself. Be the kind of companion who does not panic, who does not betray your own secrets, who does not crumble under pressure. Be the kind of person you would follow into the dark. The world will keep testing. People will keep pushing. That is the nature of the game. But you now have the map, the choice to stay calm, stay strategic, and stay unreadable is yours. In every moment, from this one forward. Be that calm, be that force, and I will see you in the next one. Type this final affirmation below to lock it in. I am the stillness that others seek.